We begin tonight with breaking developments in the Russia-Ukraine war, where two completely opposite events are now unfolding at the same time. On one side, Russia has launched one of the largest waves of drone and missile strikes seen in months, targeting Ukrainian cities, energy facilities, and infrastructure across the country.
A barrage of Russian drones and missiles have killed at least 5 people in cities across Ukraine. This includes a 10-year-old boy. Ukraine is also hitting Russia's energy facilities as the fierce fighting intensifies on ground. Moscow says Washington is unprepared to implement what it proposed during the Alaska talks.
But on the other side, new diplomatic efforts involving the United States, Ukraine, and Russia are quietly taking place, raising a major question across the world. Is this war about to escalate, or is it finally moving toward negotiations? Ukrainian officials say waves of attack drones and missiles were launched overnight, forcing air defense systems into action across several regions. Explosions were reported in multiple cities as authorities rushed residents into shelters. Energy infrastructure appears to have been a primary target. Officials say parts of the power grid were damaged, causing emergency electricity outages during freezing winter temperatures. The timing of these attacks is significant. Winter has historically been used as a strategic pressure point in the conflict, as cold weather increases civilian hardship and puts additional strain on Ukraine's resources. Meanwhile, Russian authorities have not provided detailed comments about the scale of the operation, but continue to describe their campaign as targeting military and strategic facilities. Civilians across Ukraine, however, the immediate concern remains safety and access to heat, electricity and water.
Получиться що, чи не получиться у нас, чи взагалі ми попрощаємося своїм будинком, своїми квартирами, підемо замерзати в ліс, напевно. Виходу в нас іншого немає. Наразі стараємося ходити на горщики, на відерця, виносити біотуалет, ці всі відходи.
Others are hauling water by hand as generators hum nearby, keeping only the most basic systems running. The situation reflects wider strain across Kiev, where earlier strikes on energy infrastructure have left hundreds of thousands without reliable heating during sub-zero temperatures.
Military analysts say the renewed strikes may be part of a broader strategy to weaken Ukraine's infrastructure before any potential political negotiations. Ukraine's air defense systems reportedly intercepted many of the incoming drones, but officials admit that some missiles penetrated defenses and struck critical sites. This comes as both sides continue fighting along frontline positions in eastern and southern Ukraine, where ground combat has remained intense but largely slow-moving in recent weeks. Conflict has now entered another prolonged phase. Neither Russia nor Ukraine has achieved a decisive breakthrough on the battlefield. And that is exactly why the diplomatic developments now attracting global attention may be so important. Because for the first time in months, international mediators, including representatives connected to the United States, are attempting to reopen communication channels between the sides. No formal agreement has been announced, but officials say preliminary discussions are focusing on possible ceasefire conditions, humanitarian arrangements, and longer-term security issues. Even so, major obstacles remain. Ukraine insists that its territorial sovereignty must be respected, while Russia maintains its security demands and strategic objectives. This leaves negotiations fragile and uncertain. The outcome of this conflict extends far beyond Eastern Europe. The war has affected global supply chains, energy prices, and international security policies. Many European countries continue increasing defense spending, while NATO members remain closely involved in supporting Ukraine.
99% of all military support to Ukraine has come from NATO, allies, and partners.
At the same time, fears of escalation remain present. Any miscalculation could widen the conflict or trigger broader geopolitical consequences. That is why the current moment is being watched carefully around the world. Russia's large-scale strikes suggest military pressure is continuing, but the renewed diplomatic contacts suggest neither side has abandoned the possibility of negotiations. For now, the war stands at a crossroads, caught between continued escalation and the first cautious steps toward dialogue. Whether these talks will produce real progress or collapse under disagreement remains unclear. But one thing is certain. After nearly 2 years of fighting, the coming weeks could prove critical in determining the next phase of the Russia-Ukraine war. CB News, bringing you World News Update. Thank you for watching.